Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tata Steel 2023. This is the first calendar chess event of the year with the prestigious players, the elite players, and we have been following a lot of different storylines throughout the event. This is round number 9 of 13. I'm going to show you 5 games in this recap, which are nuts. 4 which are nuts, 1 which is played by Magnus Carlsen, so obviously you would like to see it. As always, if you'd like to check out the full standings of the event, there is a link in the description. The event continues, even if chess.com is crashing. So we will begin with the Magnus Carlsen game, because it is our appetizer game. However, I'm going to tell you right now, this is the most boring game of the entire recap, which is crazy because we're getting it out of the way first. And sometimes you don't always get a game. Let me turn on highlighted moves. I had highlighted moves off because... Hello? Chess.com, don't crash while I do my recap. Thank you. There we go. Highlighted moves. So he's playing against Gukesh. Gukesh has had a rough tournament. The youngster from India. Magnus is on a 2-game winning streak after losing 2 games earlier in the event. And we have a Roebers in defense. And from the early opening, it was actually the young man from India, despite his not great tournament, actually got a very pleasant position early. Castled. Life was good. In fact, started instigating with the world champion. Now, around here, I was like, well, you know, the position has enough life in it that I'm just going to, defer to Magnus. Magnus is going to figure out a way. So Magnus kind of, pokes a little bit, bishop h4, Gukesh comes back, knight kicks out the queen, and then Magnus starts to move a random h-pawn. And again, when I watch one of you guys play a move like h4, I just laugh because you guys are bozos. But when Magnus plays a move like h4, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, wow, it's Magnus, h4, ooh, ah. And then around here, I was like, oh, Magnus is making progress. He's finally starting to put some pressure on Gukesh. But you know what? No, he's not. This queen hits the rook hits the pawn. Like, it's actually very difficult for anything to happen here. Magnus kind of looks like maybe he might be getting a little bit of something. This is kind of like the only moment in the game the computer started saying, no, maybe white's got a little bit of an advantage here. Queen b7, queen a2, maybe Magnus going to play h5. But Gukesh stayed rock solid. Gukesh created this pawn formation with a rock-solid bishop protecting the king, and these are the only 2 pawns to fall off, and one of 2 things is going to happen. Those pawns get traded, and it's a totally symmetrical position, or they don't get traded, and this happens. Magnus trades the queens, and Gukesh is like, all right, well, what about my a-pawn? I am now 4 squares away from making a queen. And I was looking at this like, wait, seriously, like, what is Magnus going to do? I mean, it's equal, but what is Magnus going to do? Rook d5. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm talking about 1 man left standing, you'll see. You'll see. That's the beauty of it. I'm gonna take you through the whole journey. Like I said, throw me up on your living room TV, and let us go to work. By the way, here black is better. Gukesh is making a draw against Magnus Carlsen from a position of strength. Okay, so Gukesh could have played rook to e7 in this position. Rook e7 is what the computer wanted, with the idea to trade, obviously, and try to just promote the pawn and play bishop f6. But, of course, white would not do that. White would play the move rook f7. We have takes. But after a2, that's probably going to become a queen. I mean, I don't know. Rook d1. If not, then black is going to get in. Instead, Gukesh probably didn't even, for a second think, oh, my God, I got to beat Magnus with black. I'm having, it's just life. Instead, Gukesh goes here, and now Magnus has to sacrifice the rook for the bishop and force a draw. Now, if king h8, then it's mate in 2, which Gukesh did not blunder. You might have. He does not. But they make a draw, and I got to tell you, this was a really nice showing from Gukesh. Impressive stuff. He has not had a great tournament, and to do this against Magnus, well done. Absolutely well done. But that's the appetizer game. The next game that I have for you is from the challenger section, and we're kicking it up a notch here. Let the hot sauce pour all over the chessboard. This game was insane. The next game I will show you is Guess the Elo between 2 grandmasters, and then I'm going to show you 2 absolutely ridiculous games to conclude the video. So don't go anywhere. Oh, folks, a lot of people complain that, I got a lot of Magnus thumbnails in and so on in the title. But people are fascinated by Magnus. And then when somebody else plays a beautiful game, they're like, I don't care. Neither of the players. Just pretend this is Magnus against Magnus. Okay, this is, in reality, Bhaskaran Adhiban, very strong Indian grandmaster, and Roebers, who's made it into, every recap. Game gets wacky on move 4 as Bhaskaran Adhiban plays g4. That is not an over-the-board mouse slip. There's a move in this position, g3, to play bishop g2 and castle and positional game with strong bishop. No, g4. The idea, this, and if this, I want to play rook g1, and I mean, this is like a huge benefit for white, because I'm going to activate my pieces down that side of the board. So, yeah, she plays h6, which is a good move, and he basically acts like nothing is wrong, as if, you know, rook g1 is all completely normal stuff. Now, black generally has to play energetically if you're going to be playing like this. Black really should not take steps backwards. Now, it's move 6, so she didn't make a mistake, but sometimes the way the computer refutes this stuff is just to go forward. Like, the computer does not slow down. And it kind of wants to refute all of this with very active play. But by going backwards, you sort of give white the sense that, you know, you're not super sure, and Bhaskaran Adhiban is like the last guy you want to be defending against, okay? Any of you ever watch Alvarez versus Dos Anjos, how he landed like 50 punches in a row? Yeah, it's kind of like that, all right? So he trades, and okay, he's just opening up his rook. Now, throughout this game, I would like you to pay attention to these two pieces, okay? You don't have to just stare at them, that will be extremely boring, but just pay attention to those two pieces. Okay, and if you're not even watching the video, you're just listening to me talk, I still appreciate you because you're giving me watch time, but who watches a chess video without watching the board? I mean, seriously, what do you pretend? You got a homework assignment? You coding or something? Making something in the kitchen? I mean, come on, guys. Long castles. Knight bd7. h4. Right? a6, bishop h3. Look at white's position. I mean, goodness me. Bishop is staring, rook is staring, this is anchored, life is good. You know, d5 now, she closes everything up, and normally you would never play a move like this, but bishop takes d7. What? That move looks so stupid. Why would you trade such a powerful piece for a knight that's not moving? What a dummy. Nope. Bhaskaran Adhiban is a genius. He realized that black is essentially one move away from being fine. For example, if you include e4 and long castles, black is fine. The problem is in chess, one move can be the difference between winning and losing. I'm sure you know that. You've tried to cross 900 before, and then you hung checkmate in one move, and that was the 7th time that happened. But Bhaskaran Adhiban knows that his opponent wants to go here, so c5. And that's a problem. This right here is the, the mafia coming to collect. The point is that you cannot take because I take the bishop. You also cannot take like this because I take this. And once your center collapses, it's all over. I'm getting into c6. It's really bad news. I also have d6 and queen f7 mate, which is a really nice way to perish. So queen d8 back. He takes, and plays knight e4. She has to take with the queen. She decides to, sorry, with the king. She has to take with the king. It's actually the best move, which is sort of insane. Now she tries bringing back the bishop. He doesn't stop. Knight takes e5. Oh my god, he just sacrificed the knight because when this, d6 check. Now, the computer thought that that was actually not best. It actually wanted him to play like something really weird, like knight g5, and only then try to play for d6. I got news for you. This is almost an impossible to defend position with black. I mean, I'm just saying. Queen c7, this man plays rook g5, and like, what are we even looking at here? It's a queen, a rook, and a knight swarming a king. Literally just a king. Just the king standing around hoping it, his pieces wake up. Remember when I told you to pay attention to these two rooks? Yeah, rook e5, it never stopped. Knight g5, bishop, rook f5 is a full sacrifice of a rook, but that's because that's mate. Knight f6, and he sacrifices the rook because he's going to get to the f7 square on the next move. It's a miracle it's not mate. I mean, it's insane. In this position, c4, now watch as this queen performs a ritualistic dance of death. Queen b4, queen b5, queen d5, queen e6, queen e5. It dances out of danger like this, all right, then like this, like this. It doesn't get traded. It doesn't get taken. That's mate. That's mate in 2. It's over. The only thing that black can do is give a couple checks, sacrifice material, but after check, it's mate. This man, Bhaskaran Adhiban, sacrificed both his rooks this game and checkmated his young opponent with queen knight and pawn, and she never moved her rooks. I mean, this was brilliant. This was a spectacular game. This man didn't let black move their rook for 40 moves. 40 moves, you didn't even get to move your rooks. Sensational. Unbelievable. By the way, you like my shirt? It's new. It's very soft. Nice shirt. What a game. I mean, oh my god. Now, the next game that I have for you is this one. This is our Guess the ELO coverage. Vincent Keymer versus Nodjabek Abdusattorov. Nodjabek has been destroying in this event. Now, we're going to scroll through this game. We're not going to talk too much about the opening. This is like a reversed, kind of like a Taraj defense, almost looks like a Grunfeld. Vincent Keymer is a very strong German player. He recently had a medal in the Speed Championships in Kazakhstan. And not the Speed Chess Championships, but rather the World Rapid and Blitz. Very confusing. Aren't you ever confused about chess titles? Anyway, Nodjabek is the young guy from Uzbekistan who's been crushing. Are you bored yet? I'm a little bit bored. So this is essentially the game. Keymer is pressuring Nodjabek. All right, Nodjabek has a very weak isolated pawn. Keymer has this beautiful structure, 4 pawns. He will likely just try to win one of these over here. And we're going to get a rook and knight endgame, okay? So, I've just received an important message, and I will have to take a look at it. And, all right. Terrific. That was very important. We have some appliances being installed, so they have just sent those to me. Terrific. Rook and knight endgame, 5 pawns, versus, 6 pawns, right, by black. That's important. But the quality of these pawns, not very good, just like the quality of those appliances, right? Not very good. That's why we got new ones. So, knight c5, b6, and essentially, Keymer put a ton of pressure on Nodjabek. He was better, he was winning, he was doing his thing, but then around move 47, he blundered. He needed to play rook a6, force the king back, and go here. Because after knight f5, there is check, there is king h7, there is rook f6, and apparently he's winning after some knight g4 jump to attack the pawn. He missed that. And then his advantage completely vanished as Nodjabek started coming back and trying to get a draw. The problem for Nodjabek, his pawns are dumb. They are not good. And that was throughout the game kind of the motto. Rook e7 is a brilliant idea, king e7, knight c6, but now we get into a rook endgame of rook and 2 versus rook and 2. Which Nodjabek proceeds to blunder immediately. Rook e8, rook f8, and rook f5. And the point is that if white is able to win one of these pawns, it's not necessarily winning. But if white is able to win both, of course it's winning. 2 pawns versus nothing, it's a win, as long as they're not doubled pawns. So we have d4, rook d5, and Nodjabek, after king f3, is officially busted, right? He's probably just going to lose this game. So now Keymer plays rook a3, back to b5, and apparently here, the only winning idea was something like rook h3. But even then it might be a draw. I think Keymer had to do something totally different. Somewhere here, Vincent had some sort of other winning idea, like not rushing to take one of the... Like, I think instead of rook d5, he could have played something else, like maybe rook f4. I mean, it was very, very tricky. The commentators were showing all sorts of different stuff, but even then, after winning and drawing, it's a draw now. Like, the endgame is a draw. You might wonder why rook f4, because king g5, and this is a fortress. This is a defensive fortress. Like, there is no way for white to move these pawns. f3, I give check, and then I bring in my king. It's nuts. So f3, rook a4, king h3, rook b4, king h4, rook g5, rook f8, king g7, rook f5, king g6. Where is the winning idea? Where's the winning idea? I don't see it. King h7, rook h5. Now apparently g5. Okay, g5. Check. Yes. Rook f6, king e5. Oh. Apparently the winning idea was something like rook f8. Spending a move doing nothing. Point is, the king is now stuck guarding this, and after check here, check here, rook g3, there are some winning ideas of bringing the king to g6, forcing the king away this way, and playing king f5, pushing and bringing the king back and winning the king and pawn endgame. Keymer squeezed Nordjrbek for like 6 hours. Not physically, Nordjrbek would have complained. And I think even a little bit later in this game, no, I think that was the last winning chance. The players ended up agreeing to a draw because it's just perpetual check. I mean, this game, I don't know how Nordjrbek survived. Like, if Nordjrbek wants, he should go drink like 3 beers, okay? I think he's of age, even in Europe. What a game. I mean, he defended so tenaciously. Gotta feel for Keymer. I mean, you just have to. It was so close. And if you had the patience to make it this far, folks. Yeah, here we go. The first thing that we will look at is this game between Ding Liren and Anish Giri. So Ding begins with a ready, a very boring opening. An opening that really, a neo-ready, like not even a neo-Catalan type of thing, all right? D4, E3, oh, but this game got crazy. Ding Liren played F4, and then a few moves later, Ding Liren played the move G4. Oh, he going to battle. Ding Liren has the hands up, 4-ounce gloves, biting down on the mouthpiece. He's like, I gotta put this man away. G4, gives away the pawn, G5, forces the knight back, position opens up. Now Ding has queen C2, and he's gonna bring his knight back to B1 and play knight C3. Now in this position, for the life of me, I don't understand Ding's next move. Like, Ding is 2,800. And we will get into why Magnus is the last one standing. I promise, it's part of what I said. You just played knight b1, a5 is played. Why would you not finish this journey? The computer loves it too. It thinks that the knight should just go to... But Ding acknowledges the potential problem of a5, a4, and goes here. But that gives Anish time. One move, as we've talked about in this recap. Boom, boom, boom. And then boom, and then boom. Oh my goodness. And Anish has created a total barrier. He's created a peace force field, if you will. And it's like impossible to do anything now. In fact, he's actually creating counterplay. This is nuts. If Ding had played knight to c3 right away, there wouldn't have been any boom. There wouldn't have been any bishop trade. You couldn't have played knight f5, because if you play knight f5, I just take the knight. So I have no clue what Ding didn't like about this move. Maybe there was knight b6 ideas to try to play a4, but then knight d5, and then, I mean, this knight is just a god. And that's like an understatement. But Ding played a little too slowly, and suddenly Anish is doing things to players in this event he has never done before. Not like that. All right, he's got a wife. Relax. I'm talking on the chessboard. Knight e3. Anish has never played chess like this. Violent, counterattacking. Like, he has it in him, but he's like a... You know, he likes to massage a position. A lot of weird references today. So, very complicated game. His pieces are on the back rank. Ding's still trying to, like, kick these pieces around. Knight f4. And my man Anish Giri says, you think you're the boss of me? Bishop c4. And the idea is that, obviously, if b takes, I take, I get this, you're going to run out of pieces. Ding decides, rook ff2. I'm not taking the bishop. What? Anish is like, all right, I'm going to back up. Anish is like, I'm up 2 pawns, bro. You say I got 6, you got 4. You got to mate me right now. Knight h5, rook d5, Ding goes for it. Anish meets him at the top. All right, b6, rock, solid. And now I've got bishop b7 on the way. Ding just decides to jump in. Knight f6, and Anish says, let me take that horse. And now, allow me, Ding. Knight f3. His rook is hanging. But the knight comes in with check. The king is worth more than the knight and the rook combined. Everything can take, but it doesn't matter because after this, rook e1 check and bishop f1, king h8. Now, in this position, black also could have taken, but king h8 is a beautiful opening of the g file for the final attack, and Ding Liren resigns. That's unbelievable stuff. Just... wow. Wow. Oh my. Oh my. Anish is in second place with another big win. And the final game of today's recap was violent. If your kids are watching, you may want to have them look away. It was a Nimso Indian defense between Arjun Erigaisi and Richard Rapport. Knight e2. Oh my goodness, there's like a fly in the room. A lot of distractions today. Knight e2. All right. Bishop b7. We have a trade. A little bit of a boring opening, but not for long. Queen. What? What is the queen doing there? Well, I'll tell you what the queen is doing there. It's instigating. The queen is just hanging out here like, yeah, anybody want to mess with me? And Erigaisi's like, nope, not really. Nope, queen d2, and I'm just going to castle long. And Rapport's like, you are? Okay, well, I'm going to start an attack over here then. And Erigaisi's like, all right, well, h3. I'm not really worried. If g4, I'll always be able to take and get my rook out. So, yeah, Richard, what are you doing? Richard's like, rook g8. And suddenly Erigaisi looked at this position and went, no, but actually, seriously, what do I do? Like, I'm struggling to move any of my pawns. I cannot take because of this. If I play bishop e2, I hang this pawn. If I play rook g1, he takes. What do? I can't move any pieces. So he plays queen e2. I mean, he's lucky black is really not threatening a whole lot yet, right? Okay, so black brings his knight out. And Erigaisi is like, no, but seriously, I can't move anything. Like, what is happening? How do I have no moves? Queen e1. Rapport takes the pawn. Now, you cannot go here because your rook is hanging. So before you go there, you attack his queen. Guy moves his queen, takes, and castles. And again, what does white do? Rapport played one of the weirdest openings I have ever seen, ever, and he just froze the white pieces. Like, none of these pawns are moving forward because every single one is a drastic weakening of the position. Knight c5 potentially, right? And so on. So upon realizing that he basically can't push any pawns or move any pieces, instead of playing the absurd computer move h4, which I could not be paid any sum of money to explain to you, Arjun plays rook g4 because he tries to get rid of the bishop. And he gets so swiftly and brutally punished for trying to stand up to the position. Observe. f5. He hasn't wanted to take this because black would get total control of the g-file, but now he has no choice. His only other alternative is to go back. So he does this, and now he plays h4. And his idea must have been, well, if Rapport takes, I will trade, and I will be a pawn down, but I have chances. After h4, Rapport played rook g2. And then he played f4. Then he took, and you cannot go here because this, and when this happened, rook c2 check. And Erigaisi resigned. We very rarely see games like this at the high 2700 level. Rapport played in such an obscure way with all of this stuff. Queen h4. What is that move? Like, why not just develop your knight and castle? And then, what is g5? Rapport is a chess alien from another dimension. And when everything goes right in his games, they are so brutal, but so beautiful. He plays all of these moves that look like they don't make any sense at all. And suddenly he's up a pawn. And suddenly his pieces force all of the white pieces to the first rank. And rook c2, the kiss of death. And Rapport wins. What a game. I mean, what the heck? What was this? This was nuts. Completely nuts. Oh, wow. That concludes round number 9. And I told you that at the end of the recap, I would tell you why there's one man left standing. After Ding Liren's most recent loss, these are the updated ratings of the 2800 club. Magnus Carlsen is now the only chess player remaining on the planet with a classical rating over 2800. Ding Liren has lost nearly 14 points in this event after the loss. Magnus has lost some too, but he's 2850 still. So there you go. And look at how close it is between 18 and like 9. 9 spots separated by like 18 points. And you see Neuderbek is coming up and up. So I'll see you in tomorrow's recap. Get out of here.